I have decided to speak about my daily struggles or how tough it can get to live in India, even though it's all very beautiful, people are all very nice. But how does life get increasingly difficult to just live in India? So, the first and the foremost is India has increasingly become so overpopulated, and this overpopulation also means many-fold increase in people who are below poverty line. See, let us say a country has 100 people, and out of that 100 people, 60 people are below poverty line and 40 people are above poverty line, which is actually nothing but talking about percentages, that 60% of 100 is below poverty line, which is the demographic presentation of Indian poverty line, that 60% of the population is below poverty line and 40% is above the poverty line. And just so that you understand what does that poverty line is, anybody earning less than 6,000 rupees a month is deemed as below poverty line. So 60% of Indian population, which is not 100 but is now 1 billion and is going on increasing, is below 60% of 1 billion or more, which is growing, is below the poverty line, which means that there are way more poor people in India than there are people with manners or well to do. Poor people doesn't mean they don't have manners, but increasingly, with my experiences, I will agree they have less manners and they're more into your life and your business than into their life and their business. They're too intrusive. Whenever this is what I have noticed, that whenever you talk to someone, or if I talk to someone, increasingly, as a side effect of overpopulation, people grow up talking and listening in excessive. There were way too many people talking when they were growing up, and they were talking way too much when they were growing up. This is the problem of overpopulation. There's so many uncle and aunts, so many people staying in one house. So they don't understand silence. A lot of times I took a while traveling when I took one of those app-based cabs. If you accidentally happen to ask a question, or if you just asked a question, or you said something, the other person will invariably always take it as a cue to keep talking the entire ride. So even if you keep quiet and don't respond, they will keep talking and keep talking. Maybe if 40 minutes is the ride, for full 40 minutes, if 2 hours is the ride, for full 2 hours, whatever be that ride, they will just keep talking. I learned this lesson the hard way, that as Indians, we don't know how to shut up. That after the initial little bit of talk or a small talk, if there's truly nothing much to say, it's okay to just shut up. But they'll keep talking and digging, and they're so intrusive. When I used to fly, in my work, I was required to fly. This happened there also. If you just casually ask something like, what is the flight on time, or if you just mention something, the other person just took off and wouldn't shut up till the time your flight lands. This happened 3 times, 4 times, and I got the connection. A mere asking a question meant the other person will keep talking to you till your either ride ends or the flight lands. Wow, what are they talking? They're forever saying something. So now, even if I want to ask something, I rather not ask anything to anybody because this pattern is just too big. It's almost like a personality issue with people where they don't know how to shut up. So, I will tell you about one incident when I was traveling by train. So, I just happened to ask this person that if I have to go to this place, how should I go? And he says, where are you from? I tell him, where am I from? He says, are you coming to Delhi for the first time? I said, no, I've been here before, but only in transit. I've never stayed in Delhi. He said, how long are you going to stay here? I said, it's work related, so I may stay for a few days. Is there somebody who's going to come and pick you up? I said, no, I can go on my own. He said, but what is there where you are going to stay? What is that place? Like a bastard, he just kept asking these questions. I cut him short and I said, "What is the best way to get there?" But he continued asking his questions. "What work do you do? Is this trip being paid by your company?" Somebody will say this must have been one odd incident. No. This is how people have become in India. They're just talking and they're intrusive and they're just asking questions. To them, going on asking questions intrusively and as many as fast as possible is interpersonal skills. Just keep asking questions. So I will continue with this incidents. That guy never told me how to go to that place. He just kept asking questions and more questions. And even when I cut him short and asked him, "How do I go? Is there a way should I take, or what should be my route?" He just kept asking more questions. And he was from Delhi. And he stopped only when he got a phone call and he got busy with his call. So I got off from the train, and after asking around where was the prepaid auto or the auto stand where I could take a auto or a taxi, I went and joined the line. So prepaid auto or a already paid auto line is where they will not con you. It's a government stand. They have fixed rates, and you just have to tell where you want to be dropped, and they will drop you there. Chances of getting conned are next to none. You don't get conned in prepaid auto because they take down the auto number, they take down your number, your phone number, all the details. So as I'm standing in the auto line, oh sorry, the taxi line, auto line, taxi line, I think one of the lines. How populated, overpopulated is India, I will tell you. There are two sidekicks just standing, roaming around that auto stand and have no other job but to just be standing there with no bodies, no manners, no face, no shoulder, no hips. You wouldn't know where did the stomach end, where did the hip start, where is the chest. The chest size may be size of, somebody said, I heard somebody say that there's just so many skeletal population growing in India that a certain poor population or people from slums or absolute poor backgrounds have a chest size of only 20 inches. And size of their legs is more suited to be how somebody's arms would be. This is all malnutrition, no money, no food, but just go on overpopulating this world. And administrator is not at work. So there were two sidekicks who were standing, and one of them just comes and starts talking. Only because he can, and you can't just slap that guy. And there's just too many of them roaming around like that. He looked like a shanty dweller, a slum dweller. And he says, "Where do you want to go, madam?" And I kept my quiet. But he comes near me and screams even more loudly, "Where do you want to go, madam?" And I just shoo him off with my hand that just go away. And he says, "I know how much do you earn. You earn 10,000 rupees a month. You're working in a call center." And then he went off. He just went on rattling some nonsense till somebody stopped him. So problem with having a slum dweller being born is a price you should pay for lack of how administrator is not at work to contain this massively growing poor population which has no education, which has no manners, and you can't stop them. Because we are so overpopulated, everybody is just talking and they don't understand silence because nobody is silent. If you're living with 20 people in one small house, always somebody is talking or saying something to you, or you are talking to them. If there are so many people staying in one house, which is a reality in India today. So, what should the administrator do? The administrator has not figured this as a problem yet because nobody is saying it to him that this is a problem. But this is a problem, a very big problem. You know, there are these cartoons called Shaun the Sheep. If you watch it on some cartoon channel, originally this cartoon, Shaun the Sheep, does not have any voice. It's a silent cartoon. But in India, they've done a dubbing and voiceover on those cartoons because silent cartoons are not understood by Indian kids as if because everybody is forever talking, and as a overpopulation we don't understand silence. There's another cartoon called Augie the Cockroach, Augie and Cockroaches. That also has no sound and nothing being spoken. It's just a silent cartoon. But in India, it is a very big hit because it's done a voiceover. Without the voiceover, nobody would understand it. That's how much Indians are talking that they don't understand silence. If this is not the reason to cull the population and look after and slim down, then what is?